Welcome to another episode of Midweek Musings, where nostalgia lives, fandom thrives, and those little pieces of plastic we all grew up with, yep, they still mean something. So I'm your host, Clinton, and tonight, as always, we dive into the heartbeat of a phenomenon that sort of spans generations, cultures, and collectibles around the world. The mass appeal of action figures and why collecting them has evolved from a childhood pastime into essentially a full-blown lifestyle. From the first time you tore open a blister card and held your hero in hand, maybe it was He-Man, Batman, Stormtrooper, you weren't just playing, you were really storytelling. You were building worlds and you were connecting. That's the magic. And that magic actually never really leaves. Toy collecting is more than nostalgia. It's art appreciation, it's cultural memory, and in many ways, I think it's self-expression as well. Whether it's a Mondo Motu figure with insane sculpt detail or a vintage Kenner piece that probably still smells like the 80s, there's something deeply personal about curating your own universe. Now, in a world that moves so fast, these figures ground us. They remind us of where we've been, who we've been, and perhaps also where we're going. So before we start the show, special thanks to our sponsors, Sugo Toys, for bringing you this episode. Stay tuned for a special offer later on in the show. Quick disclaimer, though, all the toys that you see unboxed on this show was purchased and nothing was provided as cash for comment. So if you want to live vicariously through our joy and love for all things toys, grab a refreshment. Keep watching, and like everyone else with a toy channel, allow us to be those wankers. Welcome back. It's been a good while since we did a show. We had plans to do a best of 2024. However, other things kind of took precedence. We have life priorities, right? So, but of course, we're still around and certainly haven't gone anywhere. So we're kicking off 2025 with a reunion of sorts with the usual suspects. So let's get the guys on. Hailing all the way from the south of the border, we generally have our Victorian contingent, and I'm always very excited when we have the guys in Victoria join us. And making that up, firstly, is Tabletop Fiend. He is a serial Beastbox offender. He loves his Beastboxes. He's the purveyor of Jason's Review Corner for this channel, and he loves Ghostbusters more than his mum, Jason the Bruce. How you going, Jace?
I'm good, and that's true. I mean, Mum's never really been a huge Ghostbusters person, so yeah, that makes sense. How you doing?
Yeah, you're good. You love your Ghostbusters, though, right? I mean, how cool?
Ghostbusters is my number one, probably. Yeah,
I would say, yeah, definitely. We'll get to the comments shortly, but let's bring on the next person. The second Mexican. You love the fact it's like culturally appropriating, or not really. On the show tonight comes from the suburbs of the very famous Guido Hatzis. He loves a bit of Turtlehead. He definitely loves a drink. And to his credit, he actually knows a lot more about franchises and toy franchises and lore just as well, if not any better than most of us here on this panel tonight. Mr. Talon Appler. How are you?
I thought I was coming in last, but yeah, I'm doing well. How is everyone here this evening?
Yeah, good.
No complaints.
Feels like the first day of school, first stream of the year.
Well,
and you're already at the principal's office.
We've been a bit slack, but we've left the best for last. Okay, so because our third compadre, I like the word compadre, for the night is South Sydney Rabbitohs fanboy, Millhouse, Ron Jeremy, and Eric Cartman, all rolled into one glorious form. He loves a good bat and a bowl. Mikey Siciliano.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. To be compared to the three greats like that, can't complain, to be honest.
I love writing these intros. They're the
Oh,
best.
that's
Yeah,
glorious.
well, they're the highlight of the show for me, the intros. So
Oh, crikey. Good evening, Jonathan. It's about time we did a live show for sure. Definitely. Good to see you on. Good evening, Rob, always. And guess who's on tonight for the first time? Ryan Strawn.
is welcome Thrill
Hey.
How. Thank you.
Trilho.
Thrill How.
Very
That's it's a Simpsons reference. We'll get a lot of Simpsons references from him.
Yeah. Hey, Craig, how are you going? Tori is back. Yes, we are back. Good to see you tuning in from YouTube.
Just like the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Hello. And some great intros, evening, fellas. Yes. And Talon is also alive, says Craig. There you go. Cool. All right.
Unfortunately,
Okay,
yes.
gents. We have a list of items we're going to look at tonight. Some things are not in any particular order because I think we have quite a nice variety. We're going to look at Cosmic Legions. Yeah, Talon, you like that one? Cosmic Legions?
I mean, yeah, well, obviously, Four Horsemen are more known for the Mythic Legions, but yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to dive into or see how they've kind of dived into the sci-fi aspect of things.
Yep. I'm excited because I like I said, didn't really even pick up that thing with Cosmic, so I just went this Mythics, but this is we're going to look at it on my first Cosmic. So we're going to look at Sorcery, Mythos, Cthulhu, because Cthulhu, I'm a big fan of Cthulhu. We'll look at some Hiya Toys 40K Space Marines, particularly Titus, because the Space Marine 2 game is now very popular. I've got to say, it's even Dave, who is not inclined that way, is like, yeah, I really love that game. We're looking at 52 toys. Is that correct? 52 toys, Jason? Beastboxes?
Yes,
They're
five
made by 52
toys.
right?
Yes,
5 toys, yeah. And then Mikey's got a couple of Hasbro Voyager class figures that we're going to look at as well. And we're going to look at why Figuarts are still one of the best toy brands around. And then look at some Godzilla stuff and various pickups that I picked up from Japan while I was there. And I still love the kaiju stuff, Nippon, that it's so cool. So I love that stuff. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's have a look. Who else has joined us? Venom Wi-Fi. Who's toyreel? This live stream just popped up on my recommendation. Hey, thanks for joining us anyway. I'm glad you've tuned in. Good evening, Michael. Haven't seen you for a while. Hopefully I'll see you in Melbourne pretty soon. I think the plans are to be there in the first week of May, so we can all get together. And Craig goes, Aussie blokes chatting toys, hard not to love that. Yep, I agree. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think let's get started, eh? Let's start with the law of the great dreamer. What do you reckon? Shall we?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's make sure that the other camera. So the law of the great dreamer before the first time was kindled. I mean, I don't know whether you guys are going to see where I'm going with this, but I'm going to go somewhere with this. Okay. The law of the great dreamer before the first time was kindled, before the first god was named, there was Cthulhu. He was not a demon, not a devil, but something far older, great, what they used to call the great old one, he was cast from the stars, entombed beneath the sea in the corpse city of R'lyeh, where time falls in on itself and death is only a pause. His name is Whisper, a sigil in madness. He sleeps, yes, but his dreams bleed into our dreams, twisting men into prophets, scholars into cultists, and truth into gibbering dread. Cthulhu is law incarnate. He is the myth of insignificance, that humanity is not watched over, but ignored. That the universe is not cruel, but simply uncaring. So his fear of the unknown, made flesh and tentacle, and when he rises again, we will remember not who we are, but for how little we ever mattered. Cthulhu is a cosmic entity created by H.P. Lovecraft. For those of you guys that don't know who he is, cult status. I'm sure some of you guys are fans, would have read some of his short stories as well. It was first introduced in the 1928 short story, The Call of Cthulhu, described as a vast tentacle dragon-winged being slumbering beneath the Pacific Ocean in the sunken city of Raleigh. Now, Cthulhu is one of the great old ones, ancient godlike beings indifferent to humanity. And not only is Cthulhu, I guess, representative of evil in the traditional sense, but it also represents this sort of cosmic indifference, the terrifying idea that the universe is vast, alien, and pretty much unconcerned with human existence. The character actually symbolizes the limits of what we understand in terms of human understanding and the fragility of sanity and the horror of confronting truths too immense to even grasp. So in essence, Cthulhu is not just a monster. He's actually a metaphor for the unknowable and for our place as this very small, tiny, transient beings in a very incomprehensible cosmos. So, ladies and gents, I present to you this guy. This is the Sword Sorcery Cthulhu toy, and this is incredible. Sword Sorcery is a brand. Obviously, it's some third-party brand again. It's part of their Mythos series, 1/12 scale action figure, and the figure itself is I think a breathtaking representation of the eldritch horror genre. Sort of, I think, bring H.P. Lovecraft's iconic cosmic entity to life, for lack of a better description, with unparalleled attention to detail as well. Premium materials on this figure and also very thematic accessories. I personally think that this figure is a must-have for fans of the Cthulhu mythos or collectors of dark fantasy figures. So anyway, guys, initial thoughts.
I personally think it's really cool looking. Cthulhu has appeared in a lot of different franchises, but the one that I hi Michael, the one that always gets me is I'm not a huge fan of this show anymore, but Rick and Morty, whenever they do their intro, they usually show clips from the season that's going to happen in the season. So little clips what's going to happen in the season, and then at the end of every intro, Cthulhu is chasing them down. So what I can expect is that Cthulhu will bring the end to Rick and Morty. So whenever we see him, that's when we know that's going to end. And that's funnily enough what I always think about whenever I see Cthulhu. But this figure, crazy. The detail just really looking good.
Crazy. It is sensational. And here you can see, I mean, I'm not sure you can see the box, but the box is beautiful the way it's done too. And I think it's so super important for particularly toy manufacturers these days is to spend some time into box art, and actually packaging. I feel like a lot of people skimp on that, and more third-party companies are really upping the game as far as that's concerned. But there was I was sort of arming, and I actually bought 2 Cthulhu figures. I bought this sorcery one, and I think I bought another brand recently. I got to find that brand, actually. See if you can find that, Jason, and we'll. But I ended up opting for this one. So for me, preferably. This was the figure, and there's several reasons why, because I think Cthulhu fundamentally for me has more, I don't know, the other one kind of seemed a bit too kibbly, had a lot of bulk, it had a lot of things in there, it wasn't particularly great. And for this one, I felt that it was more of a humanoid experience, it had that good balance of what we remember Cthulhu to be. Incredible sculpt, I can see here, I'll go through some of the little accessories that come with it as well, but the intricate design I think really captures Cthulhu's sort of otherworldly experience, and you look at all the textured skin, the very intricate tentacles as well, particularly in the front where his head sculpt is, and these rather, I would say, medium-sized or fairly ominous kind of wings. Let's get some comments. Michael, good for you to join us. He has a great presence, great sculpting on that figure for sure. Yeah, he certainly does. Quite good articulation. So it's despite its unique anatomy, the figure compared to some of the other. In fact, look, there has never been a lot of Cthulhu figures, so that's why I think when they release some of these things, I had to have them, because this is quite well engineered compared to the bulkier one that I had, and you can actually you can pose them in quite dynamic poses, and they can look quite intimidating as well. Premium paint applications. The figure is eerie green hues, have enhanced what I call a subtle shading. You can see here with glossy highlights as well, emphasizing, I think, the alien-esque as well as the aquatic nature of Cthulhu here in itself. Quickly going to show you the head sculpt. So accessories will include interchangeable heads and hands. This is the interchangeable head. I mean, look at that, right? This is more like a translucent version. So you have the head there with the third eye. The tentacles here are sort of semi-translucent, so it kind of goes from a certain type of gradient from the head all the way down. It comes with exactly another pair of hands here, which is the same deal. If I can see, if I can show you that. See, again, quite nice. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of paint work on this guy for sure. So, and he has a nice base, but I didn't actually take the base out. So, yeah. Rob goes, it would be interesting to get some pics of Cthulhu next to Hellboy, some sharp contrast between the green and the red. Yeah, absolutely. And Michael Vella goes, I'm always a sucker for translucent plastic. I don't know. You guys, same thing? You guys like your translucent plastic? I don't know. What do you think?
It depends on the figure for me. But with Cthulhu in particular, the translucence, it really adds to the otherworldly nature of it. It kind of just, like, translucence is quite frequently used as a gimmick, right? But it feels like it belongs on Cthulhu.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Nathan Ashby, thank you for joining us. That's a great Cthulhu head sculpt. Like the green color, sure is. It's fantastic. And I'm going to try and see if I can show you this other head sculpt here. If I go to the solo layout, this one's more of a matte. I'm trying to go upside down. This kind of more like a matte finish. It's a bit hard, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's so big. It's quite a large figure. Even though it's 1/12 scale, it's still fairly large. So, but like I said again, just for the record, look at that. So again, it's interchangeable. So that's part of the reason why I got this guy. So it has an imposing presence. It's standing taller than your standard 1/12 scale figure. I think for me, the design, the humanoid design, the dread, the befitting of the Great Old One, I think is fantastic. It's got durable plastic in terms of the type of, some figures can be a bit gummy, particularly if you get certain, I won't call out the brands, but there are figures that are gummy. Do you guys know what I mean by gummy? Yeah. So this is good. And again, the atmospheric design, the aspect from the sculpt of the accessories, this really, for me, evokes the sinister and cosmic horror aesthetic central to Lovecraft.
I just realized he's got Batman gauntlets. He's got the spiked forearms. It kind of looks like the Batman gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's just a really cool design. Like it's really cool. I love how it's mossy and old and it's cool. I like it.
Look, Sir Sorcery, I think, has delivered a figure that, for me personally, they've delivered a figure that captures the mystique and I think the terror of Cthulhu, making it an essential centerpiece for fans of the genre and collectors seeking something truly unique. So, it's amazing. So that's Cthulhu. So yeah. All right.
Cthulhu's kind of become like he's the poster child for Lovecraft essentially at this point.
Correct.
To the point where it's at the risk of being too much and too far. But this has clearly been done by a team of people that are passionate about what Cthulhu actually represents.
I think so. I mean, again, it's not like overbearing.
It's
like I
gorgeous.
feel like it's nice. Like, again, I'm maybe completely biased here, guys, and tell me if I am, but I've always wanted a Cthulhu action figure. And like I said, if you don't know H.P. Lovecraft, you're not a big fan of him, then you wouldn't get it. But I like things weird and wonderful. Not necessarily always the same thing, but again, and the lore as well, I guess there's a certain type of mystery surrounding that. So this is fantastic. Anyway, well done. I'm going to do a 360 so you can kind of see it. Yeah.
He's packing, isn't he? He's got a dump truck.
He is. He's pretty packed. But like I said, the other brand I can't remember for the life of me. I don't know whether Jason you found it, but there was
I found a
lot
couple
of
of them, but I don't remember what the brand name was.
Yeah, there's a lot of kibble on it. Super amount. It was bulky, it was weird, and it was a well done figure. Don't get me wrong, but yeah. And by the way, this was bought from Sugo Toys. So we have a special thing tonight for all you guys that if you decide that you want to purchase something, we have a discount code. So mind you, I want to stipulate again that we don't get any kickbacks and we don't get any commission, or do we make any money. In fact, the way I've organized it with Sugo is we give them a plug and then they pass on the savings to the viewers. So that's what it's all about. So I'm going to flash toyreel code tonight. It's toyreel, all in capitals, APR, April. The discount code is valid for 10 days. So make sure you get in and buy all your toys. There you go.
10% for 10 days. Easy to remember.
And it is. Yeah. I mean, everything like, and prices is just going to go up in the future. So that's where I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it. So anyway, cool. All right. Hefty looking bugger. It is indeed. I like the painted translucent plastic. I figured someone like yourself, Michael, would appreciate it, given the fact that you are a customizer. Makes it not translucent for the sake of doing it, and not have those bits on the figure all the time. Well, I couldn't agree more, but I decided to have him in matte for now and then leave those other ones. But I might take your advice on that. So, yeah. Hey, lads. Hope all is well. Certainly is. Thank you, Carnage Creations, for joining us. Great to have you on board and watching our program tonight. So, remember, coupon code, toyreel April, APR. So, no quote, just
Quotation.
use that.
Yeah, just
No
toyreel
quotations,
APR.
Yeah, toyreel APR. Cool. All right. Cool. Let's go to Mikey. Mikey, you got something for us tonight.
I do, yes. So this just came in. As we said, we're having some Voyager fun. Oh, there goes the scissors. This is the Prime line. So this is the first Voyager from, well, I mean, there's two of them, but this is the leader of the Prime, so he's the first. Primer Prime from the new Age of the Primes line, which is the first time we're actually going to get all of the 13 Primes in scale, I guess, or actually just his toys. And this dude is actually the leader who brandishes the Star Saber and also connects the Matrix of Leadership to the Star Saber to make it one of the most powerful weapons in the Transformers universe, which the Star Saber was also made by Solus Prime, who is coming down the line. But yeah, so this is the new style of packaging. I personally really like it. So you got the bold Transformers logo there, Age of the Primes, your subline, Primer Prime with his own faction, if you can see that through the blur.
Yep.
You can see your figure stacked there, his transformation steps, his vehicle mode and robot mode being displayed on the front of the box. Picture of upcoming primes. Just a cool pose of him there. And yeah, so that's what your new your Voyager assortment's gonna look like from now and to the future, I guess. And yeah, we're gonna unbox him and see what he's about. So
you got to grab that scissors.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't stab myself. That was luck. That was just luck, I think.
You just said you're going to try and stab yourself.
No, I said I'm lucky I didn't stab myself because I dropped the scissors right near my foot. So
Yeah.
we could already count that as a win tonight.
So while we're waiting for Mikey to unbox that, I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts, and maybe perhaps Taylor also and Jason, is where do you think mainline is going? Maybe Mikey, you can answer that as well. Where do you think the mainline figures are? Where do you think we're heading from here? Do you think it's still going to be widely available? Are we going to see new product releases? The reason why I asked that is because I've decided to get out of mainline, but it seems like it's awfully still popular amongst all hardcore Transformers fans.
Hasbro do work quite a fair way in advance. So if there was to be slowdown, I wouldn't expect that we'd be seeing it until at least halfway through next year, because they are pretty well known to work pretty far in advance. I'm not saying that I'm expecting that they will slow down, but I wouldn't entirely be surprised that we see like maybe a wave less each year, not just from Transformers, but probably across the board.
Mm.
But it's kind of hard to say.
Yep. Okay. Mikey's.
I think mainline will always be popular, and like this. Just judging by this so far, the packaging is good. Yes, I have been watching your reviews, Carnage Creations. You do some very good reviews, and you've already reviewed this guy, so this is how I knew I was going to enjoy this one. So thank you, Carnage. The packaging looks great. I see the mainline being Hasbro's most popular form of Transformers for years and years to come. I don't see them changing, like the formula of Deluxe, Voyager, Leader, Commander, all that. That'll stay for years. I don't see that going anywhere, to be honest. And judging by this, just from the hand feel at the moment, just straight out of the box, he looks lovely. I would say the one kind of down, like he's supposed to be predominantly white, or this version is supposed to be white. The white's a little bit milky, retooled as Firestar down the line. Yes, I can definitely see that. It'll be a big Firestar because this is a Voyager, but I don't see why not. The white is a little bit, I don't know, bland. But yeah, I mean, it fits it seems to fit the character. The painting and the sculpting, I don't know, really good. Yes, I agree, Rob. From what I can tell so far, I think it's great. The Star Saber comes in 3 parts. You've got your matrix, your hilt, and your actual blade. And yeah, it's a really. Initially I thought the Star Saber might have been too small, but having the figure now in hand, I think it looks really good. So this guy is the guy. So he leads the Prime. So I think he's the first Prime created by Primus, and he's the one that actually fights Megatronus, so who eventually becomes the Fallen, but then but the reason why they get into a fight is they're tricked by Liege Maxima, who's the trickster Prime of the Primes, and then they have this whole massive thing, and then they get in a fight, and then Megatronus accidentally kills Solus, and then there's just a huge like civil war type thing. But you're welcome, Carnage. You're a very good reviewer. It's for the leader figure and the first kind of foray into the primes that we have so far. I mean, he seems solid. He looks good from every angle. Even his legs are filled in, so he's got all the wheels in his legs. So he looks good from every angle, which you can't really say for every single Transformer, especially Voyager. His articulation, which I know from Carnage, is great. Head sculpt is really cool from the G1 episode where he showed up like that. And I think he's gonna look great. So this will be our second Prime we've got. If you've got the Legacy Vector Prime, he's also in part of this line. So he's not technically in the packaging yet, but he's your first Prime that you get. So you get him, and then Primer is available at the moment, and then you'll get all 13. So look forward to that. We have leaks for 26 mainline Studio Series. Seems like they're maintaining the course set by Legacy. The big issue in Australia seems to be the retailers seem to be winding down their ordering, especially MyBW, hoping that doesn't mean the issue obtains. There's issues obtaining certain things. I don't think so. I've got to be honest, I can't remember the last time I bought. So this particular figure is from Amazon. I bought it because they were doing a 10% off pre-orders, so I just bought it. So I got all the first wave figures 10% off, which is fantastic. Thank you, Amazon. Again, not sponsored. The only brick and mortar store that I actually shop at for Transformers is JB Hi-Fi. Again, not sponsored, but JB Hi-Fi, I think
it is your place to go.
It is good. Like they get all the exclusives. They seem to get everything in. So like I can't even remember the last time I even stepped in, really went into a Kmart saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a toy," or something. I just go straight to JB and I find everything I need there. So, or you just get it off Amazon delivered next day. So who knows? I wouldn't mind seeing a small drop in quantity, so long as they can maintain and improve the quality. There's quite a lot coming out at the moment, but I don't have anything to complain about so far. I've got another figure here if we have time to open a little bit later. But this guy even just like he feels solid. He like if I'm shaking him and none of his parts are loose, he's a rare occasion of a Voyager having opening hands, which is really nice because he's a leader. He has to. And he's very articulated. Yeah, I think this is a winner, and I can't wait to see how the primes evolve as we get them.
I have a thought on him. And Clinton, can you bring Mikey back up close just so he can hold it to camera for a second while I say this? Because this is something that we haven't seen very much in the main line over the last few years. Look at how consistent that white is across the board.
And I hope it's a white that doesn't age terribly.
But
I don't think it is. From all reports, it's not. But please let us know if that's the case, because we know Hasbro has trouble with yellowing, but I don't know if they've done better with their whites, I guess. But it looks like all the white, like it's very consistent, as you said, Jason, very consistent, and he looks great. So
yeah.
Ryan goes, there's also a big contingent of new younger fans coming through whom, despite not growing up with G1, seem mostly interested in mainline, which is great. Yeah, I think that's great. So if there's a future for it, then definitely. I'm going to play the devil's advocate here and say then the side, I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole because you can buy certain mainline figures, which recently I was planning to do was buy the Ark and buy all the cat fillers for it. So
I have an Ark that I can sell you.
Well, I have an Ark that you're going to borrow for photos, so you don't have to buy it because you don't actually want one. So that's fair. I mean, like we've got you covered, Clinton. We've got you covered.
But what I'm saying is, like, I don't know, Talon, do you collect mainline? Do you collect mainline Transformers?
Not so much Transformers, but if we're speaking objectively, I think with Transformers, like, there isn't a big enough jump from quality in terms of premium figures that are like official, and also the rollout, like with the premium figures. Whereas with the mainline, we're getting new characters like every 3-4 months. Whereas, with Masterpiece, they're doing like 4 versions of Optimus Prime before we get like before we get a Jazz.
Yeah.
But and now there's a lot of uncertainty with that line going forward as well, with this new MPG stuff and whatnot. So, and you look at the jump in price from, say, Earthrise Prime as opposed to MP44, like the differences aren't that substantial to say I'm going to spend, $600 on an Optimus Prime as opposed to 120 at most.
Okay.
Also, the space you save as well is a big thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Good point. Okay, cool. Look, before we carry on, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, and I just want to quickly share some love. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
This episode of Toy Reel is proudly brought to you by Sugo Toys.
And do not forget that tonight we are offering a special discount code, ToyReel APR. Enjoy 10% side wipe on both pre-order and in-stock items. Excludes special order products, wallet credit, and mystery boxes. Ends on the 20th of April this month, so it's limited to 1 redemption per user. For all of you guys that have been asking me for a discount code, go crazy. Hey, guess who's on? Bunnies TV.
Hi, Mavo. Thanks for watching. Up the Bunnies.
Hey, Mavo, how you going? Yeah, good. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's move. We'll move on. We'll come back to another Voyager later on, Mikey. But let's go to Jason. Jason, what have you got for us today?
I mean, this is going to surprise everybody because it's over my right shoulder, sitting right there. I may have, thanks to Chris, got myself yet another Beastbox because, yes, I'm addicted to these things. I'm slowly getting through my mission of trying to get one of every mold that I can. So this particular one it's the first of the multiples that I have. So this particular one, it is a cube like the rest of them, but both of these bunnies actually work into the same cube. So they kind of go together into the cube, which is kind of cool. There's another couple. There's a group of penguins where it's 4 of them that become the cube, and there's I can't think of what the other one is. There is another one as well. But I kind of like the multi idea of them working together. It kind of works with smaller animals, right? So
Yes, I was about to say it's convenient that we have Maybo commenting now, and you're talking about bunnies, which is great.
yes, I won't mention which game it was that I went to last year.
No, we don't have to talk about that.
Ah dear. This one also comes with a very special box charger, which is nice. I think because it was released during the Year of the Rabbit. I could be wrong on that. I didn't actually know that this came with a special charger until I got it. So there you go.
Well, that wouldn't be this year because this was Year of the Snake.
Yeah, this is an older one. Not everything has to be new. So yeah, lovely bright red. It kind of looks like I'm going to get the term wrong. There's like the lucky coin bags that you can get that are colored this way. It's clearly what it's been inspired by.
That's really cool. I like how it's actually like, yeah, it's actually like themed.
It's actually solid. So yeah, it's really nice. And as far as the actual bunnies themselves, I mean, neither of them look like they belong to the Rabbitohs. This one's one's probably the close.
Yeah, come on. It's got red and green on there. Come on, buddy.
It's, yeah, I suppose. But I don't know. They're like on the box art and everything, like they're kind of displayed as though they're like their friends and stuff, but they look like mortal enemies.
They don't.
Hey,
they don't look. Yeah.
Hey, Jason, let's explain to our viewers, what do you think is the appeal of Beastboxes? In terms of a toy.
It's completely different from what everybody else is doing. So, I mean, there's so many companies out there that's ripping off the Transformers franchise. Well, ripping off is the wrong word. I mean, the borrow from the Transformers franchise, right? 5-2 Toys started making third-party Transformers, but they made it their own thing. And it's kind of the first transforming toy that we've seen in a long time that did make it its own thing. I mean, we've had chats quite a number of times, and not to call him out, but Craig quite frequently has said that he doesn't really understand the appeal because to him, they all transform into boxes, which is kind of boring. I may be slightly quoting you wrong, Craig. Sorry. Whereas I look at it like they all transform into essentially the same thing. And it's kind of really cool that you get so many different things out of essentially the one gimmick. It'd be like if everybody in the Autobots all transformed into the same car.
Yeah.
Can we have this happen, Jace?
What?
It's not a bad idea, you know.
You could customize it. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there was another one in that store that you could buy from memory.
Oh, it's probably, yeah. Oh, well, Craig thinks that he's going to do it for you. There you go.
What if you like stuck the box kind of like Lego and kind of just make a car shape out of them? Then it's like,
there you go.
But going back to the appeal, so again, like I said, there is. So I think Jason Murray also got heavily into Beastboxes, right?
He bought a whole heap of them. Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, when he was in Japan recently.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
He's just cute.
So can I ask, are they, I don't know this particular one, do they both combine into one box or are they both separate boxes?
Yes.
Okay,
No,
gotcha.
they both combine together into one cube.
Into one cube, okay.
Which will fit inside here.
Gotcha.
There are a couple of toys where they go into a slightly smaller cube. These aren't one of them. I unboxed the axolotl, and it's a 4-centimeter cube instead of the 5-centimeter cube. But no, these do form the full. It tries to picture it here. My colored lights don't make looking at the box very easy though. But they start as two and they combine down into the one box.
Yeah, cool.
Somewhere in here there is a card that'll tell me which one is which. But
Oh,
I'm
do they have
pretty
names?
sure. Oh yeah. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure this one would be Loyal Heart. And that would
Okay.
make this one Iron Blood. Just because I don't understand why it would be the other way around. I agree, Ryan. The boxes are really neat. Sorry, I know that's not on the screen. I just saw it there.
It is now.
Yeah. 5-2 Toys packaging is real. It all kind of fits the same theme, but it's all really nice.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So quickly again, like how many pieces have you got? How many have you got now? How many in terms of your collection?
Oh no, this means I need to try and count them.
Quite a bit.
Plenty.
That's a decent collection.
I said plenty. Yeah, it's
I thought you said 20.
No, he nervously said plenty.
Plenty.
I bet it's a
see if
lot
I
more
can
than
show
20.
you.
Oh, are we growing?
He's
How is
growing.
this
Look.
happening? What is happening right now?
I have a desk that goes up and down.
Oh, I was about to say. Okay.
I do have quite a few. It's all there on that top shelf.
Yeah, beautiful.
If it came to a point where you had to clear out some other stuff to add more beast boxes, is this something you'd think about doing?
It's definitely something that will have to happen at some point if I continue. I mean, that shelf is, unless everything is in their box charger, which is kind of boring, that shelf is probably approaching critical mass at this stage. I'm tempted to add another display case to my display case, even though I still haven't completely organized it yet. But I am actually tempted to buy another one, which would help with that.
Okay, cool. Righto, let's move on. We are going to now look at some comparisons, actually. So Talon has just left, but I was going to ask him AEDs. So there's a new thing now. Well, when I say new, it's not been new. I mean, certainly hardcore 40K fans have been around, and as Jason can speak definitely from a point of authority, tabletop gaming is certainly one of the reasons why this franchise has done incredibly well, and that is 40K Warhammer. Then Hiya Toys came about and basically made some incredible detail figures at 118 scale, and literally have gone gangbusters ever since, right? These guys, I mean, in the span of 4 to 5 years, they have released so many different factions and chapters right now. I mean, the Joy Toy Warhammer 40K 118 scale figures of Ultramarines started the whole craze. They literally had, like I said, 2 or 3 chapters, and then now it's just exploded. Have you seen that game, Talon? I mean, Space Marine 2, like it's gone nuts.
Like the video game?
Video game. Yeah, it's now like what's available currently.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard great things about it. I haven't played it, so I can't comment an awful lot on the game.
Yeah.
But obviously the first one, went like haywire, and just went crazy. And then it seems the second one's followed. Well, the second one's filled a big void, or filled the massive shoes of the first game left. I mean, from a video game point of view with Warhammer games, I would like them to see them do another Dawn of War game, because I feel like the kind of strategy games would be more suited to like what Warhammer is, because it's almost kind of like it's kind of like tabletop gaming, but like on your computer screen in a sense.
Yep.
So I would like to see them do another Dawn of War, but unless they're going to like expand the franchise and kind of add in more factions to the already insane amount they have, there might not be much point in doing another Dawn of War, other than maybe remastering the last version they did.
Okay. Out of curiosity, quickly, Michael was saying, what's the space shuttle?
So the space shuttle is also part of a line that they called Infinity Box. It used to be called something else, and now it's called Infinity Box. And this was kind of like, it's the same gimmick. This will turn into a cube as well. But Infinity Box was for all of the things that aren't animals, essentially. So this is like, you'll occasionally see one where it's an alien queen. There's one where they've done Predator. All 4 of the Ninja Turtles are available for this as well, that I kind of keep thinking I need to buy. I'm blaming you for this, by the way, Clinton. I've been really good with turtles, and every time you bring up turtles, it reminds me how much I used to be into them. So that might be where I go.
To be fair, when
Sure.
you never
They
not
were
into
always
turtles.
awesome.
Yeah, turtles are
Yeah.
fantastic.
So yeah, same sort of thing, but just slightly. It's based on something from an anime from memory. I don't know what the anime is, or from a manga, but apparently this was something that meant something in a market that I'm not part
to
of.
someone. It's something that meant something to someone.
Yes.
Cool. Going back, so Talon, before we're going back to, thanks for that, Jason. Talon, going back to the games, Nathan goes, I do reckon the video game Warhammer 40k bolt gun, that's actually available on Nintendo Switch, by the way, if you do like the Doom style like games. But Nathan goes, I've tried the Dawn of War games when I was looking for a replacement for Commander and Conquer years ago, and the gameplay was a bit too different, though. So there you go. I mean, you're a gamer, Talon. You love that shit.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, as far as strategy games go, the only one I've really ever played is StarCraft, which obviously another one done by Blizzard. If you play World of Warcraft, you'd know very well what StarCraft is. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of thought about it as like, you know, a Warhammer game, like in kind of StarCraft format. I thought that would kind of be cool, but yeah, I mean, bolt gun is not. I can't see that as a game I would personally play a lot. I was never really a regular player of the Doom games, so not really my style of game. But yeah,
cool.
Bad taste. Okay. How dare you?
No worries. All right, look, let's look at let's compare these figures now. I'm going to switch cameras, and we're here to basically just so. For example, we're talking about Hiya Toys. We're talking about Warhammer 40k, and if anyone's curious about what to get and what figure to buy, so I've got two figures here. Now this is the new release, right? This is because Space Marines all of a sudden is now the rage. Well, I mean, the original game was around, and it was actually quite a good one. And then Space Marines 2 is now gone gangbusters. Anyway, Hiya Toys, as I said, released the 40k franchise. They both released first, like I said, the chapters of all the Ultramarines, and then the different commanders came, and then we now have the Primarchs, and God, we got Tyranids. We have so many different chapters, so many different and factions. But we have two figures here, both Icasters. And the reason why I'm showing Icasters here, it was because initially that was their version of Titus that they could theoretically and technically release without branding him as Titus himself. If you look at the head sculpt, it is very reminiscent of Titus as well. So you can see here, but then again, like I said, he was branded Sergeant Icastus, right? So veteran Sergeant Icastus, this figure embodies, I think, the classic Ultramarine aesthetic. It kind of features, I was going to put it here. It kind of features a standard intercessor armor with, a very meticulous shading as well, particularly on the older style. There are different versions of it. The inclusion of a crested helm, as you can see there, plasma pistols. He's actually got a power sword as well. Really enhances the look of this figure itself in the lore, regarding all the different things like all the markings, all the liveries, all the sigils and things like that you have on there as well. And collectors have sort of praised this particular figure in terms of its unique look, while still sort of paying homage to, like I said, Titus. And it's kind of a standout piece for the time. So what was interesting was a lot of guys were buying this again as Sergeant Icastus, not knowing officially or unofficially calling basically him Titus. Now I have a little thing here which is quite interesting. So you can buy this figure, and this is old, by the way, and it is actually available. It may still be available online. It was available at Sugo Toys, but I think these have sold out. And for those of you guys that were interested in using standard intercessor parts, particularly in the 1/18 scale for Hiya Toys, the best figure head sculpt you were going to get was basically this one. Now, fast forward, there's a company called All Boy, I think CTTS or something. They are online, and check out this head sculpt. So this now is a third-party customizer that is based in Thailand, and he's incredible. And look at that. This is you can actually buy this separately and order this as a custom job. This is all done painted, and by far way better, if you ask me, than the Titus head that you see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this guy off. Hopefully I don't break the damn thing, if I can actually pull him off. Maybe not. Anyway, no, he's not coming off. But I'm going to show you, look at that head sculpt there, right? And then look at this head sculpt. You guys see the difference?
Yeah.
Massive,
I remember
right?
us looking at the pictures of this when you were considering to buy it or not.
Yeah.
I think the other head just looks too bloated, I think, even.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I'm going to say, right, this is iCasters that came with that head sculpt. You can then buy a further third-party head sculpt, which is that one. But now the moment of truth is I'm going to open this new version, right, this new version of Titus and see what it's like. Now, there's been conjecture in terms of the sizing and the scalability. And what I found that Hiya Toys have done throughout all their different iterations of the Ultramarines is that they have changed a lot of the, for example, the body parts, the bucks, and also the articulation, and also the scalability. So in fact, now if you look at this size, I've just pulled him out of the box, and we're gonna look at that head in a minute. But look at how much bigger this figure now stands in terms of supposedly a 1/18 scale Titus. Can you see the massive difference?
Hey, wow.
So I don't know what's going on. Carnage Creations goes, I've been really tempted to pick up Robert Gurleyman. Okay.
I appreciate what you're doing there. It's a very, very old Warhammer joke.
It's an old Warhammer joke, but
yeah.
But do you want to tell Carnage Creations the issues we're having with that figure last time on the last live stream?
The fact that he wouldn't stand up properly, he kept on falling over, or
correct,
or may misremember. Yeah.
The Primarchs, for some reason, depending on the type of or the versions that you're buying, they have a propensity to not stand properly or even have their limbs attached properly, and they keep falling off. He looks like he needs to pee. Look, give me a sec, mate. Let me let me just put it in a proper stance before. Oh, what a classic.
Hey, look, if it's natural human nature, sometimes you need to do that.
I'm sure they've got built-in toilets on those things anyway.
Okay, so let's go back to this camera. There we go. That is now your new version of Titus, as opposed to this hot sort of put together Hiya Toys worried about getting sued for licensing issues, and then said, "Oh, this is a sergeant," when in truth matter, this is like Titus, but it's this label as iCasters. So I can tell you that nothing beats, even with this new version. Let me have a real quick look. Oh, guys, it's like chalk and cheese. I don't know. I'm gonna try and okay. I've managed to pop the head off, and I'm gonna show you. So at the end, I guess, of this exercise, I'm gonna basically be really, 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 really honest with you and tell you what to buy and what you shouldn't buy. Look at the difference. So you guys tell me which one is the custom head.
The one to the left.
Yeah. Okay. So this here is the custom head done by All Boy, and this one is evidently the new sculpt and the new Titus from Space Marines 2. So there you go. Why would you want that when you can have this guy?
Can I also say, I don't know why, but that head's reminding me of Commander Cody, or just the clone trooper.
I will say, like, It's easy to do a really good custom head when you're when it's kind of like hand sculpted and you're making a lot less of them as opposed to being a company and mass producing it.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Like in
Yep.
terms of a high quality like head sculpt.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, I agree.
obviously a custom head's always going to be a lot nicer than a mass produced one.
Granted. I would say that is a very fair observation and a good one, because you can't expect mass-produced toys to basically have the detail and also I suppose the screen accuracy as well as
It's very subjective, but obviously like it's down to whether you as the collector whether you want to spend that extra money to enhance the figure or not.
yeah.
Some
Totally,
people
100%.
some people always do.
Yeah. So here you have it. That's Lieutenant Titus from Space Marines 2, representing the character from the actual 40K Space Marine 2 video game. And I think this figure boost, or shall I say, it really is a boost to the original iterations that they had. It has a more ornate design. It's reflecting Titus's elevated rank and prominence a bit more. And I think the figure includes a lot of these interchangeable parts, which is always that's the good thing. You pay a bit for Hiya Toys, but you have a lot of accessories that allow for very dynamic posing and display options as well. Both figures, I think, are, if I look at both of these ones, they're very highly articulated, facilitating a range of poses that enhance all their display versatility, if you could say that. And each comes equipped with multiple accessories as well. So which one should you go for? I would say buy the new Space Marine version, the new Space Marine or Space Marine 2, and keep in mind that this is larger, and then buy a custom head for it. If you can't buy the custom head and you don't want to, then I think this original or the original head. So now I actually got the custom head on. I'm going to swap cameras again. I've actually, see how that looks so much better. It does look a bit small because of the camera angle. You're kind of looking up, but I would say buy the custom head, because I think this one is definitely well suited, and you could then transfer the head onto this Icastus figure if you need to. I think these custom heads were built more for version 2 bodies rather than version 3. So there you go. Okay, beautiful. So that is 40K.
I did have one question.
Yeah.
Before we move on, like regarding Joy Toy, like considering like you and Jason follow Warhammer a lot more closely than I do, and like and the Joy Toy releases and that, are they going more in the direction of producing characters or likenesses based off that new video game and going away from like the original kind of designs from the tabletop game, like in the near future, or is this just like a one-off release?
Releases tend to be aimed more towards what's currently happening in the tabletop game, and what appears to have happened is Space Marine has just given them an extra that they can add to that, essentially. It's just allowed them to have more variety.
And I guess kind of a follow-up quickly, is there a lot of reuse on that new figure, or is it completely new tooling?
Based again on the size, it would definitely be a retool, because it is substantial, man. The height difference, I'm looking at it here now again, and it's things like even the loincloth. Look, it would be safe to say that they probably reuse a lot of parts. They probably reuse and recycle a lot of the parts, because most toy companies will tool once and then repaint a lot of these things. But if I'm looking at it now, the paint apps, I mean, the new version is like I said, night and day. It's fantastic. So yeah, I would buy this one. But keep in mind that maybe Hiya Toys are going to scale up all their figures again. I don't know why they keep changing scales, and it's meant to be 1/18th, but most Ultramarines, being superhumans, are generally larger anyway, and I think that's the reason why they've done and scaled up the Ultramarines, because a lot of their human figures at one stage were almost on par, if not level, with some of the Ultramarines. So it makes a lot of sense.
I just hope that they wouldn't go all out in kind of upsizing characters and make a similar mistake to kind of what Super 7 did with their Silverhawks line, where they bring the vac metal versions out later, like the version everyone wanted from the beginning later. And then when people have already bought the first release of figures.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. The vac metal stuff was always going to be contentious anyway, in the sense that, like, I know that, I don't know, I'm not a big vac metal kind of guy. It peels. It has some issues. You hit a bit of sun and that's it, gone. It starts fucking peeling. So that's weird. Yep. But anyway, cool. All right. Well, let's go back Transformers. Mikey, what have you got for us?
Okey-doke. So the second Voyager that has come out in this brand new line is a character which if it wasn't for the resurgence of we're making everything that has ever been in Transformers ever, if that hadn't have happened, I wouldn't have thought we'd get this guy. But in fact, we did get a Voyager class Red Alert from Transformers Armada. It's just called Autobot Red Alert on this. There's no real mention of Armada, but in fact, he is from Armada. So same packaging style. I've heard mixed things about this guy. If you like the character, if you like Armada, you'll love him. But I think we'll get into why there's contention about him in a sec. So I'm just going to open him now. And yeah, it's very simple. We just cut the tape off the top.
Okay, while Mikey is opening him, I would like to remind people that tonight you will have the ability to be able to use a discount code from our sponsors. And we'll be right back.
This episode of Toy Reel is proudly brought to you by Sugo Toys.
Gotta love that. Here's the discount code toyreel APR. Enjoy 10% off site-wide on both pre-order and in-stock items. Exclude special order products, wallet credit, and mystery boxes. Offer ends on the 20th of April. Limit to one person or one redemption per user. There you go. Make sure you get in, man. Get in. Red Alert is a nice figure. And Carnage goes, no Minicon once again.
Yeah, so unfortunately that's the trend nowadays. Although, as we kind of know, there's a leak for a certain Armada figure that's coming out soon by the name of Sideways. And the fact that he's a Voyager, he's a motorcycle transformer, which generally could be a core or could be a deluxe. But the fact that Sideways is actually going to be a Voyager means he's more than likely coming with both Rook and Crosswise, who are his heads that can turn him into either Autobot or Decepticon. So so Minicons may make a comeback. I'm hoping that we can have. Sorry, as I just try to get this guy ready.
Headmaster
Minicon. Yes, they are both Headmaster. So Sideways is a double Headmaster. He can change from Autobot to Decepticon, and he's really cool. And he's actually one of my favorite characters of all time. I'm going to let that go because that's really hard to do at the moment. He can still stand. Now, also a thing to remember when unboxing a modern Transformers figure, never throw away the little bit of paper that comes. What's it, a tissue paper that comes with them, because that in fact is what is housing his accessories. And I do, in fact, know I've got all the twist ties everywhere. I do, in fact, know people who have mistakenly thrown out accessories for their figures because they didn't know where they were. But yeah, so so Minicons. I'm hoping we get like a selects multi-pack of Minicons that for all of the Armada characters so far that didn't come with their Minicons, because the only one that has come so far is Hotshot and Shattered Glass. What was it? Shattered Glass Sideswipe, I think, was the guy that got his Minicon. But other than that, so you've got your Megatron, your Prime, Starscream, have all been released so far without their Minicons, but hopefully we get them down the track, and why not? We should be able to. Fantastic Toy reviewing the Takara Micron Legends version soon. that is actually a really good toy. I can't wait to see that review because that will be a good one because even the original toy is still a decent figure to date. Now, there is some assembly required, so you get his gun that usually is usually a part of him, the original figure, but it comes separately. So you kind of just snap it on there, and then that folds away down there. And you can actually see he's missing a hand, and you've got, if I can quickly show, I'm going to lose these, I reckon. You've got 3 options for hands. You've got a kind of a triple barrel, there we are, a triple barreled gun, translucent. You've got his traditional cannon that he uses in the show, translucent, or this claw weapon that actually also goes onto his other weapon. So his gun that actually unfolds from his back here, so this bit, traditionally houses the claw weapon, and this would be his. So this guy's minicon is named Long Arm, and he would attach, and then this would come out, and then this gun would come out and be a shoulder cannon, or he can hold it, and then his front would open, and you could shoot a disc out of it. But that doesn't happen for this one. We're more looking forward to the Armada Sideways or the Energon Sideways, which are coming out of Age of the Primes. I'm like, again, out of my four top favorite characters of all time are Soundwave, Swindle. They're all Decepticons because I'm biased. Soundwave, Swindle, Sideways, and Lockdown, and we've almost got a modern representation of all of them. So that's really cool, and I'm really happy about that. But as for this guy, he's got a really stiff arm, actually. As I just try to finish him off. Wow, that's really stiff. Okay. Anyway, red alert. Here he is. And then the other piece can store. So you've got the piece attached to the Top Gun here. You've got his hand, obviously. And then the other piece, because I've seen Carnage's review already, stores in his backpack.
Are they not bringing out Cybertron Sideways?
Yes, he's coming first, actually. So he's coming this year, and the rumored version that's coming out for Armada is coming out next year, I believe, or maybe late this year. So Sideways is actually having a good year because both of his Unicron trilogy adaptations, even though they're different characters, are coming out very soon.
Rob mentions Energon Sideways.
Energon Sideways is just a repaint of Armada Sideways, and then Cybertron Sideways is a different character. So
yeah, right.
Yes, I would assume they would. I would assume they would do him as well.
I mean, as long as the Cybertron Sideways has a feature where you can change the symbols.
Well, yeah, that's his whole thing. So even the Armada version does that. That's why he has 2. I don't know how to do that. I'll do that later.
So you might as well not release the figure if you can't incorporate that feature.
Yeah, so that's the reason. The reason why I'm looking forward to the Age of the Prime Sideways Armada version is because it is a Voyager, and why would they make a motorbike a Voyager unless they're going to include the Rook and Crosswise, who are his minicons? So who knows? Anyway, red alert. He's really cool. One of my best memories I have of this design is, in fact, him, Hotshot, and Optimus Prime appearing in the Transformers game, the PS2 game, just titled Transformers or Transformers Prelude to Energon. And thank you for that. Correct. Shadow Glass Sideswipe and Hotshot have their minicons, but no one else does. Yes, Prelude to Energon had this guy as a playable character, and the best part of this game is whenever someone got hold of you or shot you or whatever, you'd ragdoll away and you'd fly through the air, and it's hilarious. Yeah, so now the contentious part about this guy is if you actually compare his height to another. Let's see how I do this. I'm really bad at this. If you compare his height to another Voyager, you can see he's significantly shorter. Now, Red Alert should be a deluxe size, but because he's incorporating the Minicon gimmick as well as having multiple attachments for his hand, and just in my opinion is all like the best version of this character we've gotten. No, you're right, Rob. There still is an Energon sideways. He's just a repaint of the Armada one. This guy, people are kind of concerned because he is a bit smaller, but we're in an age of Transformers where Voyagers can be more deluxe sized in scale, but actually have more articulation, more gimmicks, and more. They can do a lot more with the smallness of with a small Voyager than they could do with a deluxe. So if this guy was deluxe, he wouldn't have the interchangeable hands. He wouldn't have the Minicon gimmick, and he would be a lot worse, in my opinion. So, and another example of that is
it's no longer a size thing, right? It's more like a cost thing. So
it's a
like,
cost thing, yeah.
Like
exactly,
with
you're right.
with 86 Ironhide and Ratchet, they were able to like incorporate more engineering into it.
Yeah, exactly.
And get rid of all the parts forming that was in like the Earthrise or Siege versions.
Or even your modern leader class. Like modern leader classes is where we get our triple changes from now on. We don't have Voyager class triple changes anymore. We get leader class triple changes. Now they're smaller, like they actually probably are more Voyager scale, but because they have to incorporate the third mode, that's where the budget goes to. So I see the budget of this guy is more articulation, actual incorporation of his Minicon gimmick, and yeah, I think he's fantastic. Everything that I've seen from Carnage's review, I see he's a fantastic toy. Yeah, I just I've always wanted a representation of the trio from the video game. Now I have them because we have the Commander class Optimus Prime, which is your Prime from the game. You have your Hot Shot, which in my opinion still needs a bit of working on. I think Hot Shot could be better, and hopefully one they revisit in the future. But from what I've seen of this guy, and just already just the feel and the quality, again, you shake it and he's not going anywhere. He's not loose or anything. I think the quality is just there. He's got the translucent pieces like on the original, which I kind of wish they didn't do, but whatever. I would much rather his guns be is it opaque plastic, like actual like
opaque
strong,
is the word, yes.
Yeah, opaque plastic. Yeah, look. Also, this is just a banger of a design. I've always loved Red Alert as a character. I'm currently rewatching Armada. He's one of my favorite characters. You just look at that. It's just like it's just a guy. He's got his red visor. He's got the classic Autobot hood chest. He's got the door wings on the shoulders, wheels on the legs. He stands actually pretty well without his heel spurs, but the heels are actually he has it in the show, so it's fine. And yeah, like the articulation's crazy. Like it's really good for a figure of his size. He has all the gimmicks. He has all the pieces you need for him. Again, doesn't have a long arm, but I do, as we've discussed with Carnage. I do hope in the future, like maybe they're just waiting for a couple more Armada characters to come out. So like your Cyclonuses and your Demolishers to come out without the Minicon, and then we're going to get this amazing, I hope, multi-pack of Transformers Armada Minicons.
That would be cool because that's how they used to release them, like with the Minicons back in the day.
Yeah,
like I remember with Cybertron, like the Minicon Recon team was a 3-pack.
Yeah. So for your basic, so they rarely sold Minicons one at a time. Sometimes they did, but most of the times they sold them in teams of 3. So like your classic teams, like your the team that made up Sideways is still a banger. Yes, of course he is. The team that made up the Skybeam Shield and the team that made up the Requiem Blaster and the Star Saber all came together. The Street Patrol team, which formed into Preceptor, which is great. I'd love to see a modern version of that. If we could get that, that'd be great. But yeah, I'd love to see some modern Minicons. The classes were never about sizes. It was always about price point. Just the price point usually worked out for the certain size character, better so that there were the confusion of people thinking that they're associated with size rather than the engineering and parts count like they always were. Yeah, I can see that. So I think it's becoming more clear now that it's about parts count, and the size is kind of just like there is a size that you kind of expect for a Voyager and all that, but it is about parts count. It's about gimmicks and all that, and so people saying that this isn't worth it, I strongly disagree, because like if he was a deluxe and didn't do everything that this does, I'd be very disappointed, and I'd buy a pack of minicons. Yeah, everyone like the thing that I have in the favor of them doing a minicon pack is whether we already have 2 minicons that exist already, so they can already be put into that pack. And look, it will probably that if they do a 10 pack of minicons, it's not going to be cheap, and that's what will probably a lot of people won't be happy with that, but like it's just a minicon is basically a single minicon would cost the same amount as a core class figure, I'm guessing. So a multi-pack of minicons wouldn't be cheap, and I'd
Do you think they could just do 3 packs again, just to kind of?
Yeah, they could, but that would cost a 3-pack of minicons would cost probably the same amount as a Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but like rather than buying a pack of 10, you kind of spread it out.
Yeah, if they're definitely spreading it out, but yeah, like even like if we're being realistic, if a 3-pack costs as much as a Voyager, a 10-pack's going to cost like Commander plus. So
because like if you were to do a 10-pack, then you would only be able to then Hasbro could make that like a Pulse exclusive or something. Whereas if you do 3 packs, you can kind of release them at your brick and mortar stores and things like that. I
would love that. I don't see them doing it though. You never know. Because again, we don't know what's replacing core. So what replacing core could be a 3-pack of small figures, who knows? But the thing is, minicons, unlike Micromasters, minicons are individually engineered. So you've got like each minicon is different unless they're repaints, of course.
Yeah.
But every Micromaster is basically the same thing. So that's why they were cheap. But like minicons will cost more money.
And did you say that this like figure, this Red Alert, is kind of already designed to incorporate a minicon?
Well, I mean, so none of even though like Hotshot and Red Alert have the gimmick. So like Hotshot has the overhead bazooka thing, and Red Alert has his gun that pops out. They don't have minicon ports. Well, he actually does have one. So some of them have one minicon port on them, but it doesn't activate anything. So they don't have any activating gimmicky minicon ports. But the fact, I don't care. I just want them as a partner. You know what I mean? I just want to have the little minicon stand next to the dude.
I think if they were to do dedicated minicon packs at a larger price point, so like you use the legacy price point as an example, in theory that allows for the custom parts, because they all have to be different. Like there's no real way around that. And B, it means that you don't have the issue that they had with the previous ones, where it was like the previous equivalent was it's a toy that basically folded in half, and then it was the worst looking sword or the worst looking gun you've ever seen. If they do your suggestion of the bigger price point in packs, I think it allows for a much more interesting and tempting figure that would sell better. I think it would avoid the shelf warmer issue.
So you reckon
like what we had with Power of the Primes and stuff. I think doing the packs is the smarter idea.
The 3-packs or the small multi-packs?
The 3-packs probably makes the most sense in my head, because that is something that they could do at retail. I don't see them doing larger packs unless it's going to be, like Talon said, an exclusive, or which means that they're selling less of them, which is not going to be what they want.
You also have to consider the only people that want these minicons are the people who actually grew up with these shows and on these toy
That
lines.
is a point. Yeah, true. Maybe they don't necessarily want them to be like maybe doing it in a smaller thing isn't necessarily a bad idea.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, there's no real wrong answer.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
Just for the record, took me
Nice.
quite a bit of finagling, but I did finally manage to get it done. Little bit of a harder transformation, this one. I did largely do this blind, though.
Oh,
So,
beautiful. Good on you.
which I don't do very often. Normally, I watch somebody's video and then learn how to do it and then do it myself.
On the show, you've done that. That's a good effort, Jason. Very good effort. Cool. All right. Well, that was a good segment just on Transformers. Now let's maybe try and cover maybe a few more things before we call it a night. Thank you very much, Siciliano. That's fantastic. The next thing we're going to look at is something that I think 3 out of the 4 of us here, or maybe I would say, all of us, we're quite smitten by, is Four Horsemen Studios. I know Jason certainly has had his fair share of certain purchases from the retailer appreciation wave, which you've probably bought a couple.
I got one through that, and then I got the original. I've got both of the Santa Clauses, basically.
Yeah, and I know Talon also does like a lot of the mythic stuff, and now we've, I think, got suckered in, particularly for me anyway, got suckered into the Cosmic Legions, and I'm about to show people my first Cosmic Legion figure. But put it in a bit of context. I think the figure is a very nice little figure, and part of the reason why I think I decided to get this figure, there were 2 reasons. And I'm going to switch the camera just to show you guys why that is. So I'm going to show, let's see, I've got to obviously turn it on first, and I'm going to switch cameras. He's about to come on, and there we go. So there you go. Here, ladies and gents, is Four Horsemen's Cosmic Legions, the Shadow Circle Fisher Rice action figure. Now, I don't know whether people may recognize something about this figure, and like I said, I'm going to put it in context. Adam goes, did I order the dragon? I did, through a friend. So I didn't actually do it straight through the website, but a friend of mine from Santa Clara, upstate Los Angeles, actually did get a figure for me. So I'm pretty happy about that. So this is the Shadow Circle Fisher Rice action figure. This is a stunning showcase, if you ask me, of Four Horsemen's unmatched creativity in the world of building fantasy. As part of their Cosmic Legions universe, I think Fisher Rice blends a good blend of alien mystique with shadowy intrigue, sort of bringing a richly detailed and wholly original character to life. I will want to say that this actual figure, believe it or not, does anyone actually recognize the color scheme? Can anyone actually recognize the color scheme of this figure? Maybe Jason. Does anyone remember? It
reminds me of the bad guys from Voltron, but that's not what it's supposed to be, obviously.
Okay. Well, anyone that remembers a toy line or brand called Fisher Price?
Yeah.
Does anyone remember Fisher Price? Okay. Well, Fisher
Price. They make
Price,
like baby toys, don't they?
Baby toys, correct. So Fisher Price I'm kind of I'm dating myself now because, I'm putting myself on the fucking age cart. Fisher Price released a line of toys called the Adventure People in 1979. And if you look it up, there was actually the Fisher Price Adventure People alien pilot in this exact color scheme. And what Four Horsemen Studios have done is that they've paid homage in the Cosmic Legions line by paying homage by using the exact same color scheme that was this toy in 1979. There you go, the Adventure People alien, but now this is called, hence the name Fisher Rice, which is fantastic.
Oh,
anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, so this figure feels like a deep-cut fan favorite from a sprawling sci-fi epic, despite, this being an entirely brand new creation. So, it draws a thematic sort of inspiration from classic sci-fi assassins, espionage agents, and deep lore shadow operatives. So in the Cosmic Legion's lore, he has his own sort of, I guess, sect, and he has all these other different people or the same group of assassins or together with him in this particular group itself. The second reason why I bought this figure and why I was really, really drawn to it was, okay, how many of you guys have watched the movie Dune, the new version by Denis Villeneuve?
Only
Negative.
the first part, not the second.
Okay. Well, if you remember correctly,
Yeah, I've seen it.
you've seen it, right? Well, you know what? This guy reminds me of the house troopers of Harkonnen. If you look at some of the troops, particularly the house troopers, there is such a massive resemblance, particularly with the dome head as well. So between the Adventure People alien pilot and the house troopers from the House of Harkonnen in
Yeah, I can
Dune,
see that.
there was a certain aesthetic to it that I really, really, really like. So it's an all new alien design. You know, Fisher Rice features an original alien head, which is basically in blue. What's really cool is it's exaggerated by the features with all this entire biomechanical accents throughout the entire sculpt, throughout the body, throughout the paint scheme as well, apart from the humanoid figure. It comes with, again, separate heads. So you have helmeted heads as well as an alien head. The paintwork is incredible. You got these like awesome subtle gradients, metallic finishes. The texture on the skin is also pretty amazing, which kind of gives it a very premium feel. So for me, in terms of the sect of the Shadow Circle armor deco, it's very distinctively black, violet, and also a dark gray color scheme with weather detail that kind of reflects the covert, I guess, and sinister nature of the faction itself. Very highly articulated. In fact, for most of the Mythic Legions or the Four Horsemen or Cosmic Legions line, this is it's probably using one of their new body systems that features more articulation, which pretty much allows for very expressive and action-ready poses as well. The one thing I think, and I'm not sure whether Taylor and you are aware of this, but the good thing also, and I guess the very good sell points, particularly with Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions, the customizable modularities of all the parts. If you've seen some of the fandom, particularly on some of the groups as well, you get interchangeable parts and armor pieces that are compatible with other Cosmic Legion figures. This one is it reuses a lot of parts heavily. So if you look at the Tusk sentry soldiers, whether the science officers, the heavy gunners, or there's the sentry troopers themselves, you'll find that they look awfully familiar. So this is a heavy reuse of a lot of the parts as well. So the tactical accessories, incredible. You got alien blades, modular gauntlets, removable Glock. It's got a cloak. In fact, in the box, I don't know where the cloak is. Actually, I should pull it out. Tech base gear that kind of fits this whole aesthetic of the assassin profile. Really cool. Nice little gun here. You got, like I said, several helmeted heads. You got two helmeted heads, and then you have this alien sort of profile here as well. A crap ton of different limbs, and you can take the limbs and you can change the neck pegs as well, which gives it even more detail. So you can see here lots of it. It's very the lore-driven character design is fantastic. The way they've done it. Heads off to them. I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on Cosmic Legions and Mythics, Talon? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I was just gonna say one of those helmets looks very much based off the alien head design, like from the Alien movies.
Yeah. In fact, that's what John was. Rob was saying. There's something a very Giga or Giga about the spacesuit, especially with those alternate helmets as well.
And what you said about interchanging parts, I think you mentioned to me a while ago that there was a few Cosmic Legions that are kind of based off old like Motu 2000X stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's
ahead.
funny how that kind of ties back because obviously the Motu line, when it first originated, there was a lot of part swapping you could do with like figures and stuff like that. It was really like the birth of kit bashing
I agree. And they've taken the whole Meccano aspect to a different level, right? So now, but they've done this again really, really well. And part swap is fantastic because you don't have to retool, right? You can use the same tooling, and then you can just swap and then just change your color scheme and your paint apps, and that's it. You got, and a lot of these, like I said again, if you look at this particular figure, you will see the same design in the Sentry Tusk figures, the heavy gunners, as well as the science officers as well. So look, it's I think they've done really, really well. I feel like the build quality now has improved substantially. Tolerances are better. They do come with this special thing that tells you to make sure that you soak it in water before you actually start moving your figures like anything else now. So I guess they identify themselves before you decide that you want to break your figure, which I think is a smart thing to do. But I've taken it out of the box so far, and it feels great. Carnage Creations was saying it's got some Mr. Freeze vibes. Hey, that's
actually
pretty cool.
Yes,
100%. Like it's like an alternate universe Mr. Freeze. Like it's really cool.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, originally it kind of gave me Destro vibes, but like if Destro had kind of a bubble over his outfit, just like the face. But also, like, Four Horsemen don't have to include a little leaflet saying soak your figures in hot water. So for them to actually do something like that and include that is really nice. Is really cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
Because companies are not obligated to do anything in that sort.
Yeah, no, it's very, very good. I mean, they are getting better and better. I think, I'm just going to quickly show you guys also look at the list of Cosmic Legions figures now. So in that lineup, there's that many figures. And
it
again,
feels like this has happened overnight.
No, it's been around for a while. So they decided to do the sci-fi thing after the success of their fantasy mythic stuff, with Mythic Legions. And I said the only reason why I even dabbled in even thinking the fact that I bought one. In fact, I didn't buy just one; I bought three. And the reason why I bought three is now you could have Fisher Rice, being flanked by, let's say, perhaps another iteration with, for example, maybe this head on and another helmeted head on. So imagine two of these guys flanking, Fisher Rice in the middle, which is fantastic. So this is a perfect example. I mean, frankly, this is a perfect example of Four Horsemen strength in storytelling through, I think, figure design. It's not just a collectible. I think it's a character waiting to be explored. It's a vital piece of the Cosmic Legion's tapestry, and it's an essential pickup for sci-fi action figure fans and world-building collectors. So I am just smitten by it. I think it's fantastic, and that's part of the reason why I even decided to go. And which I may at some point decide to maybe pick up several of these others when I'm in LA in June. So yeah, Fisher Rice, homage to Fisher Price, Adventure People's alien pilot, as well as I love the suit design because it's so reminiscent of the Brutalist design from June, particularly with the House Troopers from Harkonnen. So there you go. That's
just to kind of add to how long Cosmic Legions has been around for. I think it's been around for a couple years, but I think it's just kind of flown under the radar because of how good Mythic Legions has been and how much they've just stolen every headline in terms of toy news every time they put something out.
Yeah, like, just to clarify, what I meant by that was, like, quite literally, it just feels like that's happened overnight. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago that they announced that it was happening.
Yeah, go on, Kale.
I will say, like, can you see them doing, like, obviously with them doing that Bethir for Mythic Legions and obviously the success that had, can you see them doing something for Cosmic Legions, or you don't think Cosmic Legions, the word of mouth of it, is really out there enough for them to attempt a crowdfunding project for this line?
That's actually a really good question, and I think that depends, because that depends on,
because you could definitely do like a cool spaceship or something with this.
Yeah, but it's going to cost a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Because again, it's one of those things where Hasbro are doing it well now so far with some of their franchises. We have Hiya Toys that are doing this incredible range of all the 40K stuff, which is, an immense sort of tapestry of sci-fi in regards to 40K Warhammer lore. I don't know. It might be a stretch, but I think maybe if there's anyone that would do it, it would be Four Horsemen. And it really, again, is dependent on the success of that line. But given the current economic climate and inflation and all those things, I'm not sure whether that's going to put a bit of it's going to dampen some of those plans. But everything is going big. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like everything is going big. We got Dragon. We have all these different Kickstarter campaigns. We have HasLabs. Like, toys are just getting larger and larger and larger. So,
which is going to be eventually a problem, because space, like, the most valuable thing to every collector is space. And I think companies, whether it's in 5 or 10 years, they're going to eventually see it's time to, like, start downsizing things. And obviously, as factory equipment gets better and stuff, you can add more deco and stuff to, like, smaller figures. I mean, obviously, you've seen how well well detailed miniatures can get if people are so good at painting them. But obviously, like, when it's done by a factory in mass quantities, that's a different story.
Yeah, I agreed. And I certainly don't think they're mass quantity, and particularly with certain boutique brands, I feel like Four Horsemen now have become a bit more of a boutique brand as opposed to them mass quantity. The one thing I will say, though, and I'm not shitting on Hasbro, but I feel like that entire Star Wars Black Series line has completely tanked. You find them in bargain bins now.
Yeah,
it's so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that is. Maybe because
I think I know why.
Oh, go on, tell us. What do you think?
Like, Star Wars has always been a 3/3/4 inch line, and while it was great to see them dive into the 6-inch aspect of things, there's only so much you can do at 6-inch scale. Like, all of their successful crowdfunds with these big spaceships and things like that have been at the 3/3/4 inch scale. And Star Wars has always been a line where it's not just characters, but it involves incorporating vehicles as well. And you can't do that as much at 6-inch scale. Like, they haven't even given us an X-Wing at 6-inch scale because it's just going to be too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it would be.
and there's only so many characters they can do that they're going to be able to sell mass quantities of in the Star Wars franchise, that all they can really do is just keep rehashing the same old characters over and over again, and people were always going to get tired of it.
I think that was one of the biggest things that I raised initially.
But also, but also, how have they not done any Phantom Menace figures yet in that line?
In 6-inch?
Yeah, like, that's what, like, we just had the anniversary. Yeah, but, like, we just had the anniversary of that movie. Like, would have been the perfect time to roll out characters from that movie when people had been asking for it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see
don't know why.
What be on the roadmap. But again,
obviously,
I think
they wouldn't give us that Ula figure with that Rancor for obvious reasons. But if they did, you know that project would have been successful.
Yeah. And on that, I mean, on that note too, I think with Hasbro, look, the 3/3/4 inch thing has been a staple, particularly amongst toy collectors. And like you said, to do a 6-inch and then try and, I mean, the largest sort of vehicles they ever did were, I think one of them was the 1/12 scale snow speeder. That was pretty large. But it just wouldn't be, I think, financially viable, perhaps, to try and do something that large.
It's incredibly difficult. Like, you couldn't, like, even if they did an X-Wing, you can't sell it in a brick and mortar store. It would have to be a crowdfund.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I think that would even be too big for a crowdfund.
Yeah.
1/6 X-Wing is going to be the size of a computer desk, surely.
Yeah.
Unless
it literally would be.
But talking about crowdfunds, I think the most amount of money that anyone has had to pay now for this dragon figure, Beastbox, is it's pretty expensive when you think about it. So people are doing it. I really personally didn't think they would fund. Funny quickly, I just want to say, Adam, can't wait for them to do Mech Warrior Legions. Well, yeah.
Can I just say,
I'd be very tempted by that.
if we're talking about, so you're talking about that the dragon that's obviously really expensive. Hasbro recently released the compendium for the G1 comics, and for just to get the basic bundle for Australians at the moment, it's about $655, so it's expensive. It funded in 2 minutes.
Well,
It raised over $1 million in 2 minutes, and then like most of the stretch goals were met in 2.5 hours. So like it's just got to depend on what it is really. Like if it's something that's appealing, then people are going to they're going to spend a lot of money on it.
I honestly think with Black Series, it's I dare I say I think its days are numbered. I think they're gonna have to
I'm not
find
interested
something
anymore.
else. Yeah, like
There's
and
not much
a lot
more
of
they
people
can
aren't.
do either.
And that's the thing. They've pretty much they haven't really, like, outside of things like certain Phantom Menace characters, they haven't really left any stone unturned with that line, and they've kind of done everything there is to do with it.
Yeah.
Like you could once in a while roll out like your Luke and your Darth Vader and your Han Solo and all that, but otherwise there's not much. Like Hasbro's not going to make their money from that line.
No, it's going to tank. It's going to tank very soon.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens. Anyway, okay, so let's close by saying that there are a couple of little quick pickups that I got from Japan. That will be left for a different show, I think. I think it's more fitting. And one of the things that I want to quickly bring up is that for all the Indiana Jones fans, Figuarts is fantastic. I got to tell you, this is, to me personally, and I'll tell you maybe on a different stream, and we'll probably do a different show, and just in terms of comparing a lot of the Hasbro stuff with the Figuarts stuff. That is the Hasbro line of 6-inch figures, and this here in the box that I picked up from Japan. And by the way, it was so much cheaper to pick them up in Japan, is the Figuarts, Bandai Figuarts version of Raiders of the Lost Ark with Indy in here, and it's amazing. Incredibly cheap too compared to the prices that we're paying over here. How many
accessories there are there?
They're quite a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a crap ton of accessories. This arguably can be, let's say, compared to the Mezco version. The Mezco version I find now currently is overpriced. Yes, sure, you have more accessories. This one, the accessory department is quite light, but in terms of the sculpt, the figure, the paint app, and the likeness, this I would recommend as probably one of the best Indiana Jones figures out in the market currently that money can buy. 90 Australian dollars as opposed to what you pay usually over $150 here. Pick this up from Japan. I had this, actually, I got this from Lobos, and I'm going to do a separate, we're going to do a separate episode one night just to have a look at these. So that's something from Japan. What else did I get from Japan? I also, for shits and giggles, managed to get this Seiko clock. This is pretty cool. It's quite iconic, and this is something that probably we will use on set, and something that we would probably use when we do our roundtable discussions. Well, not only that, you can actually use this as a prop if you did some photography with some of your Godzilla figures. And speaking Godzilla, I picked up quite a lot of things, particularly like patches, stickers, really sort of homage to all the kaiju lore. These are really cool stickers that you can see here. Some cool patches. I mean, some of these things are really awesome. Look at that. I went to the official Toho Studios Godzilla store in Shinjuku, and you can buy all these things. You can buy even patches. These are awesome little Godzilla patches, iron-on patches. I even have this thing that says the UNGCC, the United Nations Godzilla Countermeasure Center. How cool is that? That is a fucking
That's
patch.
cool.
Yeah, right. Like, so there's always these different things where it's like it's not just specific to Godzilla, but and then there's another one here that says G-Force. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So and then I think what I was quite chuffed about picking up recently, I think when we were somewhere local, I'm pretty sure, is this is awesome. This is the quintessential official guide to the King of the Monsters, and it's a hardcover book, very nice, nicely bound. It's textured in the front, and it certainly gives you all the information and all the stuff you need to know up until not so much -1, but up until Shin Godzilla. So you know what? I'm going to do we're going to do a separate stream just on Japanese stuff, whether it's Gundam, Kaijus, Godzilla, anime.
Boo-boos.
We got to do an episode just on Godzilla. So this was a great pickup. And then also got these little things now that are very super popular in Japan. These Takara Tomy cars. So because I own a white Hilux, I couldn't find a white one. The only one I could muster. In fact, Dave got this for me while we we're on the trip. And this is a black one. But they make everything. They make all sorts of cars. He bought, in fact, two of my colleagues that were on the trip were into all the JDMs, like the Japanese domestic market cars and things like that. And you can find literally any other sort of make of car in these little babies. So they're pretty cool. And then last but not least, this is something I need to leave for a different show. And again, maybe just talk about Figuarts. What are your thoughts on Figuarts? Okay, you know what's in this box here, Talon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
this is something that I'm going to...
ridiculous.
Yeah, this is
Absolutely. Like I never thought any company would ever make that figure like what is in that box, but SH Figuarts went and did it. And they could have done a lot more people in that category before that particular person.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll do a Figuarts live stream one night. And just to give you a little teaser, he actually, just a bit of trivia, he was tasked with writing, I think, a soundtrack for one of the Godzilla movies.
That would actually explain why they did that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're asking opinions of SH Figuarts. I think this sums up my opinion very clearly. This is the only action figure that has never left my desk since I brought it.
Beautiful.
Well, we'll know all about that because...
I think for a number of years now, the SHF Dragon Ball line has been objectively the best toy line.
Speaking of Dragon Ball, we got...
yeah, Jono's got a lot of them.
Yeah.
In fact, I was so chuffed because I found some really cheap Bandai Figuarts Dragon Ball figures for him just on the very same day I was about to leave Tokyo. And I was so happy about that. So yeah, they make great stuff. And again, it's so affordable, it's so cheap. I mean, this for $90 as opposed to the prices that you get raped here in Australia for. Like, you cannot buy something like this for less than $150, right? So there you go.
Yeah, even in America, like it's a lot. Like I know a lot of people in that market would buy their SHF toys like through Army or one of those Japanese retailers, and it's still cheaper to buy off like a big than from there than like a bit and get it shipped from Japan.
Totally.
And buy it from Big Bad Toy Store, one of your local vendors.
In fact, I went to the Tamashii Nation store in I think was it I can't remember. Sorry, it was in Shinjuku. I'm pretty sure it was in Shinjuku, Tamashii Nation store, the official one. And even the stuff that you could get there, like literally if Jono walked into that store, he would be like a pig in shit because they literally had 2 rooms just dedicated to Dragon Ball, and it was incredible. And then another section just sort of like dedicated just to Godzilla. It was, and Mikey, you would have been. I mean, if you're a big fan of Godzilla as well, you would have. I went to the store, the official store, and like I said, you so easily buy these things. You pick up, you spend a bit here, you spend a bit there, you buy this, you buy that, and next thing you know, you got a whole bag full of it.
You love it.
Yeah.
One day.
I wonder if they'll open a Tamashii store here. Like they've done a few international ones. Like they opened one in Times Square, I think, a couple years ago. Like I went to that store. Definitely more of a store designed to kind of showcase stuff. Like they've got a lot of showcase displays, but it's also still a very small store. So like their inventory is not going to be near as much as that store in Tokyo.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see, whether they will eventually come over here. I as far as I know, I don't know if it will make any good business sense for them to come and do something like that here.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, Australia will be the last place they open a store just because of how small our market is.
I think Jonathan's Mr. Zero in his figure there.
I only have about 16 Figuarts figures at the moment, but they are great. They're great. Have Dragon Ball and Naruto. And Adam goes, there's an SHF Star-Lord Rocket 2-pack that's phenomenal. Well, I would love to see that, actually. I think that's available locally. And I heard we're supposed to be getting a Tamashii store somewhere in Australia. They hinted it on their socials. Well, there you go. What just as we were saying,
Definitely
that
be interesting to see
never
what that's
say-
like.
never say never. Cool. All right. Well, let's wrap up for the night, gents. Thank you, as always, for joining us and joining me and the group and everyone together with your enthusiasm and your time. I always say this, thanking you for your time and enthusiasm. That is priceless. And also, don't forget, guys, that tonight we do have a special coupon code discount that if you want to buy SH Figuarts, Hiya Toys, Transformers-related memorabilia, if you want to buy, what else? Cosmic Legions, Mythic Legions. In fact, Sugo Toys do Cosmic Legions and Mythic Legions now. Please use the code. It's only available for 10 days. And, yeah, make sure you get all your goodies in. The code's on the screen, and it does say that it's applicable only for both pre-orders and in-stock items. Doesn't apply to special orders or your wallet credit, as well as your mystery boxes. So jump on there. Offer ends 20th of April. Make sure you do that. Thanks once again to Sugo for sponsoring this episode and also for passing on savings to our audiences and our viewers. So on that note, guys, fantastic job. Mikey, thank you so much. Jason, thank you. Talon, thank you.
Thank you.
Always great fun having, talking shop, talking toys on a Thursday night, musings, toys. And yeah, what can I say? So any parting words, lads, before we head off? Let's
Thank
look
you,
at
Chris,
a
for
couple more.
bringing this down to me from Sydney.
Hey, Chris, that's it, man. Great stream, fellas.
I
Thank you.
do want to give a thank you to a friend from the show who got me something a little over a year ago.
Yes.
Our friend Con. So I was in Perth like a little over a year ago. Went to a toy store there. I totally forgot the name of it, and I do apologize for it, but it's a great little business, great little shop they got set up. Saw this, which was the figure I had as a kid. Cybertron was like obviously the Transformer line I grew up on, and I saw Mudflap at this store, brand new inbox, and Con was very kind enough to buy the figure for me, which is something he absolutely didn't have to do, but definitely activated some nostalgia with that purchase.
What a legend he is, and such a generous guy. We miss you, Con. I don't know where you've been, so you make sure you say hi again and come on board.
Con is amazing. Great guy.
He is. Hope so. The one I visited in Thailand was half the price we get here. And good show, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Adam. So, guys, always again, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. And all of us at toyreel, our usual suspects, and those guys behind the scenes, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And thank you very much for watching. Cheers, guys. Have a good night, eh? Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, everyone.